Welcome along. It is Adam Russell and Johnny Ward, and we're here for the two-man wall. Adam Russell, all of your legion of fans, they want to extend congratulations. Bolton are back, if not to the promised land, at least the third tier. Got the job done. You only tipped them up at 8-1. Well, you backed them at 8-1 to get promoted ages ago. Not that long ago, but like well into the season. And then you told Star Sports listeners and viewers to still back them, and they actually did it quite comfortably in the end. Owen Doyle, my compatriot, what a man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great weekend to be a Bolton fan, and yeah, they really deserved it in the end. I sent you a WhatsApp, didn't I, with the link to where we were in. We were 19th position in the middle of February to then rise up through the table and finish in the automatics. Yeah, it was so it was great to see like we've really connected with this group of players, even though we weren't able to physically see them play. Like I've only ever seen them play through a screen, but the connection between this group of players and the fans is something that we've not had at the club for a long time.
That's pretty cool.
We've had a lot of journeyman footballers who will come in to, it's a big club. They came to pick up a paycheck at the end of their careers, whereas this group really feel like they understand what it means to wear the shirt and to fight for the shirt and to play for Bolton Wanderers. So hopefully some more positive times ahead. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed. Let's talk FA Cup final. Now, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the league as well, with the battle for fourth place suddenly alive again after the shock defeat of Arsenal. Chelsea losing to Arsenal, and Manchester United obviously playing Liverpool. But the FA Cup final, Chelsea and Leicester, it's obviously a bit weird for Chelsea now. They're fighting wars on a few fronts. Obviously, Leicester, not exactly home and host for the top four, but how do you call this? This is Chelsea's 15th FA Cup final appearance, and they've won just over half of those 8. Of course, I'm old enough to remember Dominic Matteo scoring after 10 seconds or something like that. Dominic Matteo, he's a Liverpool. Roberto Di Matteo. I remember him scoring after 10 seconds or something against Middlesbrough back in the day.
Yeah, it's like you say, for Chelsea's weird one because they're fighting on a few fronts. I think that's obviously the difficulty of getting to a couple of finals when you haven't secured that top 4 place. And obviously we saw last night they made several changes against Arsenal and just didn't have that quite the same rhythm. The press wasn't quite there as it has been in recent games. They missed the likes of Kante in particular last night. But I don't think it'll disrupt their rhythm too much in this game. It'll be a very confident camp to be in, the Chelsea camp at the minute, you'd think.
Even though you're a youngster, the traditionalist in you has to admire Tuchel for resting players with a view to the FA Cup final when it's definitely endangered their top 4 credentials.
Yeah, and I guess they've got the chance to qualify for the Champions League also by winning the final as well. So they've got kind of 2 opportunities. I think they will finish in the top 4. I think they'll pick up the points that they need. Liverpool are still a few back. So, yeah, a big game also for Liverpool tonight against Manchester United, which could have sort of big ramifications in that race. But, yeah, you've got to have admiration for what Tuchel's done in general since they've came in. They've stopped conceding goals. When it clicks for them, they look a really dangerous team going forward. And it'll be interesting to see next season, can they just get that consistency that they'll need to put together a real title run as well? Because they've got the squad, they've got the depth in that team to really put a challenge together on the likes of Man City, but it's just all about that consistency. And we've seen this season that they've just slipped up, particularly at the beginning of the year. They just slipped up too many times to really put together a challenge, but I think it'll be a tough game. Obviously
40 to 85 to win the tie is a short price, considering obviously the table suggests there isn't much between these teams. They're better teams since Tuchel took over, but Rodgers is a really good manager. You did expect Leicester to be well competitive here.
Yeah, you would, and you'd think they'd really be up for it as well. And yeah, they've sort of tailed off as the season's progressed, and I think that might be an issue that they need to look at, because again, last season they came out firing early on and then tailed off at the end of the season. But they should be bang up for this game. It's their first cup final for 52 years. So if you can't get yourself rallied up for an FA Cup final, then maybe you're in the wrong profession.
Indeed.
And I think tactically, the game against Chelsea against Man City was really interesting. The way Chelsea set up defensively, they played a really high line, and the centre backs were able to drift into midfield and follow the likes of Foden into those midfield pockets, and it left a lot of 1v1s with quite a high line at the back, which could be quite dangerous against Leicester. You think spacing behind Jamie Vardy is going to be something that they'd really look to exploit, and 1v1, he'll beat anyone for pace. So if that's the way Chelsea go defensively, a lot of it will probably come down to how well Leicester can, if they can beat that Chelsea press. Man City struggled, particularly second half. Man City really struggled to do it. But if Leicester can do it and get those balls into that space in behind for Vardy, then they could really, really cause Chelsea some problems. I think it's going to be FA Cup final. Look, FA Cup final is always an interesting game, but this one seems to be a pretty well matched tie, in my opinion.
Yeah, Chelsea to win 2-0, obviously 2-1, and
yeah, I like that. Defensively, you think they've been so good, and they've played a lot of big games recently, so that's the sort of the occasion's not really going to get to them. I think Chelsea to win 2-0 is solid, and just kind of solely based on that semi-final performance against City, the way Werner was able to get into those pockets between the fullback and the right centre back of City, and sort of really getting those channels and cause trouble. I think with obviously Johnny Evans picked up a knock for Leicester the other week, and he's probably not going to make it. And I think that could be an opportunity for Werner just to get in. Whoever does play in that, it might be Wesley Fofana on that right side of centre half, and I think that could be an opportunity there. 9-2 score first or 7-4 anytime, but I think it's an interesting price. I think he could pop up with a goal in this one.
It's time to talk about the playoffs, and there wasn't an awful lot of drama on the final day in terms of obviously Wayne Rooney and Derby. That was where the drama was, with their absolute collapse in the last 7 games or whatever. They still managed to just about stay up. But it's Brentford, Bournemouth, Barnsley, Swansea. Brentford 13-8, Bournemouth 9-4, Barnsley 7-2, Swansea 4-1. That's in the Championship. League One, Sunderland, who obviously probably developed a load more fans from their Netflix documentary. They're 13-8. How the mighty have fallen. Blackpool 13-5, Oxford 3-1, Lincoln 7-2. This is where it's at, though. I love this, right? Newport, Morecambe, Tranmere, and Forest Green. Newport, Morecambe, and Forest Green. One of them is likely to get promoted to League One, rather.
Yeah, and I think we were talking last week, weren't we, about the EFL probably got a lot of things wrong down the years, but I love the playoffs. I think it's a great way for us to end the Football League season. And it never quite plays out the way you think it's going to play out. Someone always kind of gets to the final, or even gets promoted, that you think, where did that come from?
Well, I think you've given one selection in the 3 divisions all year. That was basically your own team to get promoted. What do you fancy of all these?
No, that's not true. I also said that Hull would win League One, which they did. I said
Fair enough.
Said that Watford would win the Championship, but they obviously finished second and got promoted. So
I'm talking more about stuff you said in the middle of the season. So I actually can't even remember it. I can't remember as far back as the start of the season, but that's fair enough.
The interesting one in the Championship, I think Brentford are genuinely the third best team in that division, and it's almost time for them to take that step up to the Premier League. But we have seen them get to this stage in the past and not quite go on and do it. I think Bournemouth under Jonathan Woodgate have really kind of turned a corner, and they put together a nice run at the end of the season. It seems like that camp's in a really good place. And I do think, no disrespect to Barnsley or Swansea, I do think the winner will come out of that Brentford-Bournemouth game. And as much as I think Brentford are the third best side, I do think that Bournemouth might just edge it and then win in the final. I think obviously they've got a decent amount of Premier League experience, and I think that big game experience might just be enough to see them through against Brentford. And interestingly, there's a point that we were talking about, obviously, during the Super League, about how dangerous it is for the Premier League wealth to kind of keep being circled around the same 25 teams. If Bournemouth do go up, it'd be the first time in Premier League history that the 3 teams who all went down the previous year bounced straight back up. So it'll be interesting to see if that does happen and kind of what the reaction might be to that.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk League One and League Two then. Any selections there? I do think it's great that obviously Tranmere are probably the big club of the League Two quartet, but the chances are one of these smaller clubs, the likes of Morecambe, who obviously are perennial strugglers and nearly actually got promoted automatically.
Yeah, the thing about Tranmere is they were actually really pushing for the automatic spots earlier in the season, and then just in the last 8 weeks, sort of fell off a cliff. And in fact, they almost missed out on the playoffs in the end. And I think they've announced this week that Keith Hill, their manager, is going to leave at the end of the season. So it seems like,
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
obviously, ex Bolton from last season as
Mm.
well, so we know him quite well. But yeah, it seems like that's maybe not a very happy dressing room at the minute. So I'm not sure about that, but I think Newport. I think the market is going with Newport. I think because they've got a decent cup record, they're a decent cup team, and I think that could count for quite a lot in these situations. Obviously, in these moments where one mistake can be the end of your season, and especially in the playoffs, because you've had not like a cup where you've played 3 or 4 games to get to a quarter final or a semi final. Your whole season has gone into getting you into this position. So there's so much pressure on all of these games. And I think, that cup record might help Newport. But I think for me in League Two, Morecambe really, really pushed us for that third spot. And they kept coming and coming and coming. And it felt like they weren't going to slip up at any point. And I think that momentum that they've built could really, really help them. I think 5-2 is a good price on Morecambe, given the way they've been playing recently.
You obviously were talking about Dawson Devoy and Bohemians, that goal that they got against Drogheda. Well, Bohemians went on and won 4-0 last week, which kind of shows that they're clicking into gear, and they're playing away to Longford 13-20 with Star Sports, which I think is well worth a bet, and look to play the kind of the handicap, maybe halftime, full time as well. But that's my League of Ireland selection.
Yeah, do you want to quickly do League One as well? Because I think we need to get Sunderland beat, in my opinion.
Why?
I think 13-8 on Sunderland is a bit short, given that they've staggered at various points this season. They've obviously played at Wembley a couple of times in the last few seasons, so if they do get to the final, maybe that experience in the big game will help them. But from a purely biased perspective, I just don't like Sunderland. It's just it's a personal rivalry thing, so I want to get them beat, and I think the team to get them beat are Blackpool.
Blackpool won their last 4, and momentum is massive in going into the playoffs, obviously.
Yeah, it always is. And they've actually got a really good playoff heritage as well, Blackpool. They've got a good record across the divisions throughout the years in the playoffs. Obviously, you remember the playoff win against Cardiff. I think they won 3-2 on the day.
The mad game, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great game. I remember I was actually there on that day. It was a great occasion. But I fancy them 30-5. It's a bit of a bigger price. Oxford and Lincoln City, not disregarding them. I think Oxford in particular maybe wouldn't have expected to be there, given that they literally got into the playoffs in the last game. They picked Portsmouth to it, but maybe that, like you say, momentum. Maybe that's just what you need. You think that your season's going to be over, but a few things go your way, and all of a sudden you've got a chance to be playing in the Championship. So yeah, 3-1 on Oxford is not crazy, but yeah, I think Blackpool have got overall a good squad. They've got a couple of good strikers, Jerry Yates and Gary Medine, and they've rebuilt quite well as a club over the last few seasons. So yeah, I'd like to see them get promoted at 13-5. So yeah, that's my playoffs. I'm going Bournemouth, Blackpool, and Morecambe. Sticking away from the favourites, but yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, and that actually would work out decent enough odds as well in the treble, albeit it is obviously you need a bit of luck to go your way. What have we got in the Trader Challenge this week?
Oh, you've put me on the spot here. I'm just going to get it up in front of me. The first thing I was going to talk about is the Star Sports Greyhound Derby.
Well, we have the Greyhound Derby preview night, which is 6:30 to 9 p.m. if they can somehow manage it to get all of this in. I think it's 16 is the field. I spoke to Flynn Goward on Trader Chat on Tuesday. 2.5 hours show, beginning at 6:39 to 9 p.m. on Wednesday, the 2nd of June. Paddy Janssens, who's champion trainer, Ali Brown, who's NAPS champion, and RPG TV pundit Julie Collier, who we all well know from RPG TV, and obviously her Star Sports preview as well. Andy Lismore is the Toaster racing manager. And we also have Martin Lofty Chaffman from Star Sports, our very own Star Sports. This will be a lot of banter, and it's great to have something where you're previewing an event in which it's 16's the field.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have a physical preview.
It is.
Free tickets, I think, yeah, there's obviously a limit, but get in touch with them down at Toaster as soon as possible, and they'll definitely help you out. As for the Trader Challenge, it's your weekly opportunity to go head to head with the Star Sports trading room and potentially bag yourself a £200 free bet. All you've got to do is give us your predictions for the 6 games that we've selected this week, which are Southampton against Fulham, which will be horrendous. Brighton against West Ham, Palace against Aston Villa, Spurs against Wolves, West Brom against Liverpool, Everton v Sheffield United. The best selection will bag themselves a £200 free bet, and everyone who beats the Star Sports traders will win themselves a £10 free bet.
We should finish up with a line from Smog in his song where he says, whenever I get dressed up, I feel like an ex-con trying to make good. And, you know, maybe football fans aren't the people you would definitely think, oh, yeah, he'd look well in a suit or whatever. And I say that, you know, with tongue in cheek because I'm obviously a hardcore football fan. Adam would look well in a suit, but I got to mention this. No ties attached. Get a Gresham Blake tie, a sign-up offer of a free and exclusive Gresham Blake tie of your choice. Perfect for when racecourses open their doors again, or if you want to go to some prawn sandwich brigade in the football or whatever. To qualify, sign up to starsports.bet with the promo code TIE. Place 2 bets of a nifty or more at odds of evens or greater. And you get a free Gresham Blake tie. This is phenomenal stuff from the boy Keith.
Yeah, and I mean, absolutely spot on. Johnny says he's going to take me to a nice race day out in Ireland at some point, so I'll have to get my tie ready for that. I'll get it pressed and I'll keep it ready for the big day.
Your nap of the weekend?
I think Chelsea to 0 in the cup final for me, 2-1. I think that'll be my nap for the weekend.
And double it up with Bohemians to win in Longford for me. And that was the 2-man wall with Johnny Ward and Adam Russell.